Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another live episode of the Relevant Recruiter Show. Today, we've got a one-of-a-kind show, something I've never done before, and I'm super pumped because I'm surrounded by a bunch of absolute recruiting rock stars. We're going to do the State of the Agency Recruiting Space 2022. So for those of you who have been following, we're going to be talking about, hey, are we in a recession? Are we in a labor shortage? There's been so much change in this industry over the years. How to survive, how to thrive. The panel that I've put together here is all very, very successful recruiting agency owners that are willing and ready to share anything and everything on the show. I mean, everything. They've told me everything. So I'm going to let them introduce themselves, but we've got accounting and finance expert. We've got oil and gas. We've got sales and marketing. We've got medical science liaisons, technical, and what did I miss? Who did I miss? Supply chain. There we go. Arizona, Northern California, Southern California, New Jersey, Texas, Florida. We're covered regionally. So this should be an excellent show full of knowledge. And we are going to go right now. I'm going to let the guests introduce themselves. We're going to go ladies first. We're going to go alphabetical order to keep it simple. So Brianna, the mic is yours. Let us know about you.
Nice. Hey, thank you, Donnie. This was super cool when you decided to do this. Now we're all in different verticals. I'm Brianna Rooney. I own Talent Perch and Thriversity. I focus on tech recruiting. I've lived in sexy tech for the last 14 years, which has been super fun. There's lots of stuff there. And then I also focus on training, which is training recruiters, hiring managers, inclusive sourcing, all of those good things. I'm here to bring standards to an industry that doesn't have standards.
Love it. Love it. Kathleen.
Hey, thanks for having me. So Kathleen Steffey, I'm the owner of Naviga Recruiting and Executive Search. We focus on sales, marketing, and operations recruitment. And I've owned the business it'll be 21 years in January. So thanks for having me.
Awesome. Welcome. Leslie.
Hey, Donnie. Thanks so much for the invite. My name is Leslie Boudreaux. I'm the managing partner with BVOH Search and Consulting. We specialize in finance and accounting. We're headquartered in San Francisco. We also have a new practice in Austin, and we do executive search, direct hire, as well as strategic staffing and consulting. We've been in business for 18 years.
Awesome. And we to Ben. How you doing, man? Welcome.
Good, man. Thanks for having me. I'm Ben Bonnell. I own Morgan Benjamin Search Group in Houston. We used to be primarily oil and gas, but we're a fairly industry agnostic at this point. We dabble in insurance, legal, some accounting firms, manufacturing, medical device, healthcare leadership, and then Snelling Staffing in Houston, which is our staffing agency. It's primarily hourly industrial work. I've been here for about 11 or 12 years, of which I've been the owner for 6 years now with my wife.
Love it. Welcome.
All right, Brent Orsuga, based in Scottsdale, Arizona, own Pinnacle Growth Advisors. I've done recruiting for 20 years, but the last 13 solely in logistics and supply chain. So unlike Ben, about as niche as it gets.
Beautiful. And Tom.
All right, I'm up, and I'm Tom Caravela. I live in New Jersey, own and run a company called the Caroline Group, and like Brent, been in business for 20 years, super niche from day one. My company's kind of a niche within a niche within a niche, focused in the pharmaceutical industry. We place what's called medical science liaisons. So that's an area that not only do we specialize in from an executive search and recruitment standpoint, building teams, but I also train and coach companies and teams of these MSLs. I also have a podcast, which was originated because of Donnie's inspiration. It's called MSL Talk. And we now we have over 200,000 listeners in 77 countries, and have to thank Donnie. He made it happen.
Awesome. Love it. Love it. Love it. Some quick housekeeping stuff. So you guys will be able to find this State of the Agency Recruiting Industry podcast on my podcast channel, The Relevant Recruiter Show. That's on all Apple, Stitcher, Spotify, etc., as well as my YouTube channel. So you guys can find that after, if you guys aren't able to tune in for the entire thing here. We are going to do a little bit of a Q&A at the end of this. So if you want to interact with the people, please ask questions. If you're enjoying and you're loving the value that these people are dropping, a little low like and a little love, because the more like and love, more people get to see this incredibly valuable episode. So we're going to dive right in. We're going to get dirty. We'll start with you, Kathleen. And the question number one is, there's obviously been a lot of talk around town. I think by definition, we are in 2 quarters of negative GDP. So we're in a recession, but some of you guys aren't necessarily feeling that. So with that kind of, talk of recession, have you noticed any change in client demand and rec load? And are you seeing a labor shortage in your specific segment? Kathleen?
Sure. No, I'm not seeing any change at all. In fact, we're seeing growth. Employers are coming to us every single week with positions, new employers, and then our existing clients. So I'm not seeing it at all. And there's not a labor shortage in sales and marketing right now, a surplus, and they know their worth. So they're out there.
Love it. Leslie?
Yep. I would actually say
Did you
yes.
follow up on that?
Yep, absolutely. Kind of in contrast to what Kathleen said, for finance and accounting, I would say on the search side, so direct hire, yes, we're definitely seeing a decrease in demand. Job orders from probably the peak, let's call it like end of last year, Q1 this year to now, probably a 20% dip. Our consulting strategic staffing practice is either flat or growing, which kind of makes sense in this time because companies don't have direct headcount to hire firms, so they plug in consultants because they still need the work to get done. But the interesting thing is we absolutely have a labor shortage. And so as opposed to other recessions where the job orders go down, the candidates go up, the candidates are not going up. And so the clients still really need us, and we're still finding it difficult to find the right talent for the job openings that we have.
Got it. Awesome. 2 people, 2 different perspectives already. I love it. Let's go to you.
Look, I feel I work in what I'm going to call a recession-proof industry, being trucking and logistics. It cannot stop. If trucks were to stop, the world would stop. And so we have not seen much of a slowdown. If anything, I think that we've seen a speed up. And I think in my industry, the reason is these companies are at a time where they need us more than ever. The days of hiring newbies, the days of training people, a new industry knowledge or language is kind of off. And for me, they would rather pay a premium for what I'm going to call plug and play because their dollars matter more than ever right now.
Love it. Brianna?
Yeah, I'm kind of a mixed bag. This is interesting. So I think we've seen the biggest layoffs in tech, and we kind of operate like that. And so a lot of my clients are definitely scared, but they also overhired like nobody's business. With that said, though, there is a giant talent shortage in software engineering. So there's still a very, very high demand. There's still plenty of people hiring. It's just they're getting a little nervous on using their recruiters. So we're kind of like standing right here for a little bit, just waiting to turn back on that funnel, where on the opposite side, I have some other, the smaller companies coming like, oh my God, what do you mean? We have to keep building. This is silly. But I will say, I feel like this time in my last 14 years, even after COVID, this has been for us a lot of turmoil. A lot of uncertainty for us. So I think even after COVID, it was like just 3 months of, we'll just see what's going on. And then like, bam, it was nuts. This is a little different because I think, again, everyone even overhired recruiters, and everyone's going to kind of get caught with their pants down. So I have a mixed bag.
Love it. Ben?
So we're not seeing any slowdown. We actually just posted about this recently. We're up, I think, about 60 or 61% year to date right now, and it's across all of our segments. So we have specialty recruiters, but as a firm, we're pretty agnostic across industries, and all of them are hiring right now. We've not seen a slowdown. We're still hiring internally. We've got a final interview this Friday. We've got more interviews next week to add more recruiters to our team. So we're not experiencing that labor shortage. Some of our segments, I'd say there's been a labor shortage for years. I mean, if I think of our manufacturing clients, there's been a skills gap in our country for a decade. Probably like what Brent sees with some of his clients when you think of CDL drivers, like there's been a gap for a long time. So COVID sped it up a little bit, but with the baby boomer generation starting to retire as well and smaller generations coming to fill those gaps, That's a labor shortage that'll go on for a long, long time. So that's not temporary.
Got it. I want to close this out with this one here.
Let's do it. So I would say we're more on, I mean, we're super busy right now, but we're also very niche. So it's kind of hard to use my segment of the market as an indicator of what the general market might look like. I could tell you that it's important if I could just, if there are other, obviously there's other firms out there watching this, listening to this. I think it's never been more important to focus on consistent daily marketing and business development efforts. I think that that should never stop in any market. But more important, even if you're busy right now, I think now's the time to really get after it so that you can be in the right position in Q1, Q2, Q3. So that's my plan. We're super busy, but I'm not taking my foot off the gas pedal. I like to, Donnie, you know this. I like to run up the score, even if I'm winning, put my foot on the neck of the competitor, get after it, and don't stop. So that's that's kind of where I'm at right now.
Great advice.
I love it.
That was great.
I love all the different perspectives out there, and some of you guys busier than others. So I think everybody's busy, but clearly slowing down in some spaces. I mean, with that. Kind of putting on the recruiting hat now, like what are some of the best practices that you guys are recommending, or what are some of the trends just when it comes to, finding talent and getting companies to move forward with this talent? Brent, we'll start with you on this one here.
I think that we're just educating people a lot more these days around how this time of year, especially Q4, is so important. I always tell people, look, there's a 30-day funk acclimation period whenever you make a move. And I think a lot of people, I'm like, why would you not want to go to Thanksgiving and tell your family about a new job? Right? Why would you not want to get into the new year, new me mentality? But if you make a move now, you use November and December for that time frame. If you do that in January, you're not hitting your groove to March. And so we're really coaching and educating those people around that. But here's something I just told our team the other day. From like a recruiting standpoint, this might scare some people, but here's the reality. You really only have 6 Mondays left. November 7th, 14th, 28th, December 5th, 12th, and 19th. So if you want to crank it up and go into action, reverse engineer off of that, and you'll get woke really fast.
I love it. Ben, what do you got?
I think when you talk about, hard to find talent, things like that, it's just using technology as much as we can to further enhance our ability to develop relationships. I think when it comes down to it in this industry, we have kind of 2 things. We have our relationships and our language. And so anything we can do to enhance that stuff, to locate talent, we try to make sure that we do.
Awesome. Tom?
There's a couple things. I think that this might seem kind of broad, but I think one of the most important things is just over deliver on the client side and the candidate side. I think it's really important to focus on the customer experience, make sure that your team is trained on really details and making sure that it's a customer or candidate focused effort every single day. Separate yourself from all of the other agencies that are out there. I think that that's just super important. Just over deliver and focus on that customer experience on both sides of the equation. And then at the byproduct of that is you build the brand reputation. And that's when you get repeat clients, repeat candidates. And that's how over the long haul, you build a successful firm. And I think that if you have that really as the foundation of your effort, you can't lose.
Awesome. Leslie?
I'm talking about talent, not clients right now. Finding talent.
Yep, just best practices and talent. Any tips, tricks, anything you guys are seeing? Yeah.
I mean, I think the thing that we're really honing in on right now is just literally back to basics across the board. I think that like Brianna, we are very tech focused, which is why I think we're seeing a little bit of a dip right now, because the tech companies kind of manage their P&Ls by headcount up and down. And so, we were really in a very luxurious position over the last couple of years that it was just literally a feeding frenzy. And so I think because of that, like some of our team, we had too much demand. We could maybe cut some corners. You could get a little lazy. It's like there's just some stuff that I think was happening in a really, really, really hot market where people were kind of way out over their skis. And so now it's really time to drill that back. It's all about relationships, meeting these people face to face when you can. I know there's a lot of remote recruiting going on, but making sure that we are downstreaming, like the fall offs, the turn downs. Like there's just a lot of it's a really uncertain market. And I think that it is up to the recruiters. The recruiters who are going to win in this market are going to be the ones that dot every I and cross every T and kind of control on both sides with the candidates and the clients. But you're going to have to dig deep, and at least, most likely what made you successful in 2021 is not going to make you successful in 2022 or 2023.
Brianna?
So this is really fun. Normally I don't agree with the consensus, but everyone's hit different points. So this is fun. I go back to even what Brent said. I think it's about educating and training right now. And in order to be that recruiter that, really can look outside and be successful, you have to be strategic. And you have to let them know. So you have to give them the little goodies, client side and even candidate side. Hey, here's what I say. Here's what I see. Here's what's going on. And then really, it's great right now to train. And again, going back to what Leslie just said about making sure there's quality, because there's so much bad recruiting going on out there. Like always, I don't know if that will ever stop, unfortunately. But being that recruiter that can look at each other in the eye and be like, I just did a really, really great job. And also tying that to urgency, because that's very difficult to still do a great job, still be strategic, and have urgency. I think those three combos are really hard, and that's what's going to set you apart. And that's what we're doing internally to make sure, we have a whole checklist. Hey, are you client ready? Are you sourcing ready? Are you hiring manager ready? Are you, and role playing? Again, going back to the basics, like Leslie said, I think is super powerful right now.
And Kathleen?
Part of your question was, how do you essentially coach your customers so they can make it happen in this marketplace? And I really think it has to do with trust from the beginning, being open with them, being honest, giving them feedback on the spot on what their behaviors are impacting in terms of results. Somebody told me recently that when a recruiting firm is the recruiting firm of choice for the very first time out there with an employer, they're going by gut. And they're going really essentially a service provider. They go by gut and their process, right? How do they make them feel? And in those first 30 days, they're critical to see if that relationship and trust can be formed with that firm and the employer. So we really focus on trust and becoming value-added experts in their mind in order for them to listen to us, because we could tell them all day long what to do, right? But if there's no trust, it's not happening. So we really focus on that from the beginning. Even on our prospect calls, we're coaching them, telling about the marketplace, our calibration calls, AKA intake calls, we're coaching them, we're telling them about the marketplace, and they're learning through their journey with us. And then by the time they're in that search process with us on that project, trust has already been built some, but now we just need to execute and correct behaviors if we see it, and so on and so forth. So
amazing. We're 2 questions in. I hope everybody's loving this value. You guys are just dropping straight gold right now. So if you guys are enjoying this and you're watching, get a little like, a little love, a little that, whatever it is. Really, really enjoying this. So kind of switching the gears into all of you guys, share different things of, busier than others, but all you guys are busy, successful. How do you guys, as this an uncertain market, it's like, how do I still thrive? How do I still move on? And some of you guys have shared some of this already, but to get a little bit more specifically, I'm going to start with you on this, Tom. What are you doing right now to really make sure that you're, recession proofing your business, so to speak, or, making sure you're staying ahead of the market?
A couple of things. I think number one, I think consistency is really important. I think that you have to be super organized and focused in your efforts, focused on the right things. I think it's important to take an inventory every day of where you're spending your time and what your efforts. It's so easy to get distracted and do a lot of things that aren't revenue producing. So there's a lot of activities that we can get involved in each day, not just as recruiters and as business owners. In any business, you can get pulled in a million different directions. So I think finding a real focused, organized effort towards the revenue producing activities first and foremost, but then be consistent in all of your marketing and business development efforts. So I mentioned this before, but I think it's one thing to just say, okay, I'm going to focus on BD, and then you pick up the phone or you send out some posts or you come up with some type of social media campaign 1 or 2 days a week. You have to try to put together a calendar of events and activities and tasks that'll give you the consistency in action that over the long haul is going to make a difference.
Let's go, Kathleen.
Last year, I made a mistake. There was so much demand, and I was shooing away business and trying to prioritize it. Where I would tell prospects that would call in, and I'd say, "This is our capacity right now," and I was being honest. And let's set up a call in 30 days. That didn't work at all. So what I'm doing is, or what I've done this year is adjusted my mindset. I'm never going to do that again because those companies didn't become clients. And I am going to grow internally and continue to do that and continue to hire and maximize my placements right now to protect me essentially. If we do go into a recession. But my mind is not recession. Right now, nothing is indicating a recession in my particular world. I'm not denying it can happen, but right now I'm just maximizing what I can do to grow revenue and just killing it.
Love it. Leslie?
First of all, Kathleen, I love that. That's amazing. Love to hear that anyone's killing it. It's like our team, I think, it's funny, that 20% dip, yes, that's real, but we were coming off of, there's no way we could manage the capacity and the job orders that we had. And so it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's not really like, what business do you have? It's like, how many jobs are you filling at the end of the day, right? But I think that, Tom, filling the funnel every single day, marketing, BD, part of your process, time block, that's got to be there. That's how recruiters in any market get away from the highs and the lows. You have to consistently fill the front of the funnel, which, let's face it, a lot of recruiters don't like to do. That's the kind of eating the frog first thing in the morning. They don't like that. They like working with the client. So you have to be really disciplined about that approach. But I think one of the other things that we've done is like, hey, if tech is suffering a little bit right now, and I say that while we still have amazing SaaS clients that are still hiring, but what is not? Okay, wonderful. Biotech, pharma, like what industries are really peaking, and where are our relationships in those industries, and making sure that we are all over those clients. And so we're really kind of using like data. Where have we had success? What is successful? I mean, if there's a certain sector of your industry, like we're kind of industry agnostic, very functionally focused in the CFO's organization, but we have, we serve asset management, which is killing it right now, like private equity, VC, like that's the sector we need to be going after. Same thing with life sciences, but just instead of kind of, again, it takes that, like, don't just call the people that you want to talk to, who are your like loved hiring managers and maybe what were historically your best clients, because you want to talk to them and it's fun to talk to them. Kind of being proactive and making sure that you're going after where the business is. And on the flip side of that, in terms of just preparing, like kind of like Kathleen said, like we're still hiring, but I will tell you the skill set that I'm hiring for is business development. Like hunters, not farmers. Like we need to have people on the team that can go after and bring in those new logos while they're still doing an amazing job kind of serving the client. And that's always, I think, in recruiting, probably like one of the hardest skill sets to find.
Beautiful. Brianna?
Yeah. So I also learned last year that one, it's okay to say no. because I was having like pounding on the door, and we embed recruiters as well as do dedicated searches. And so, I was like, okay, how quickly can I get a recruiter ready to just put them into another company, And I used to say, oh, I'm going to, harness and train for 30 days. I'm going to, do my due diligence. And then it got so wild. I was like, how do I say no to all this money? Well, I learned a great lesson. You have to. Quality is everything. Reputation is everything. So again, you can still say no. That's okay. I do think that you have those calls, though, back to Kathleen's point, it's like you do have those calls and you do are honest and stuff like that. And then maybe you even partner. I found some great agency partners as well to still share the wealth. I think that's a great idea. Something I've also learned this year is that every single person, regardless if they're in a true recruiter function, at the company is a brand ambassador, and they all have to get involved. So going back to the biz dev, I feel like that's just the common denominator. Yeah, it's the hardest one. So I was the only one in charge of doing that because, again, they were beating down my door. Well, I realized I didn't train everyone to do it, or not enough. And so, we're going back to, again, the basics and making sure we are all speaking the same language. We all know our offerings. Doesn't matter if someone's in accounting. It doesn't matter if someone's in HR. We all have to move the needle. And I'm also really big on being transparent. Keeping it real is one of our values, and also letting them know, hey, this is what business is going. We want to still, make our numbers, and this is what we have to do. And we have to do it as a unit, not just because your job is a recruiter.
Ben?
What Tom said resonated, right? Business development, you just can't take your foot off that pedal kind of regardless of what's going on. And then going back to what you asked about being recession proof, when the COVID hit, we were primarily oil and gas, not all, but probably 80% of our business. And I got advice from a friend. We were kind of looking around what are we going to do? When cars stop driving, that's not good for us when you think of fuel consumption. And we stopped looking at where we could cut and started thinking where we could double down. And that was really valuable advice. And I think we pulled out ahead of a lot of our industry because of that. And a lot of that was business development and marketing. And then one more point on the recession-proof thing. We were mostly oil and gas back then. Now we don't have a segment that leads another. We're pretty agnostic as a firm, and we've done that very intentionally. So adding someone in the medical and healthcare leadership, adding someone that could get us into insurance. So all these different segments that we got involved in was all based around that. How can we make ourselves as a firm more recession-proof? So I think someone touched on it as well earlier of hey, if these guys aren't hiring, who else is? And that's how we've tried to build the business as well. If they're buying oranges today, great, we're selling oranges. If they stop buying oranges and start buying apples, then we got to figure out how to sell apples. So just staying very nimble and growing very intentionally.
Love it. Brent?
For me, I live off of 2 words: be visible. Be visible, because I also think that if you really study marketing and branding, money follows attention. Attention is the new currency. People are going to resonate with what they see on a regular basis. So for me, I'm in a very high touch point right now. High touch with our clients, high touch with other resources like Leslie put. I've really tapped more into the PE side of things. So you got to get those relationships with the private equity firms who are going to gobble up these companies and are really good money people, but don't necessarily know your industry or know how to hire. So rather than just stay in your lane and dominate and go after that, you got to get there in different segments as well. Almost look at it like revenue streams, right? And you're going to know your lane, you're going to know where you're dangerous, but how many of those can you have almost working for you, whether it be referrals, whether it be direct business development, whether it have PE firms. But the reality is the more that you're out there right now, the more that you're visible. Some of it's going to be outbound, but a lot more of it's going to be inbound as well. Never forget that, though. Money follows attention. Be known or be forgotten. Very simple.
Love it. And I want to kind of carry on to this because you guys have brought up some really good things. Getting back to basics is something that all of you guys said. And then staying consistent with business development, even as these times are, of uncertainty. Curious, what is the main way for you guys to get new clients? How are you guys going about it? I'm sure 15 years ago it would have been, cold calling, and I'm sure some of you guys are still doing that. But if you wouldn't mind sharing, what are you finding is the most effective way to attract clients today? Ben, we'll start with you on this one.
So we have a probably a more strategic plan today than we've ever had for business development. I mean, we obviously worked with you, Donnie. We use your app that's new. We have outbound and inbound. We do a lot of content, not just content that hits a social media platform, but a lot of content that's directed specifically towards different audiences. So I don't think that there's one silver bullet. We have at any given time 4 or 5 different things going on that's a part of an overall more strategic plan. So we have people here that are dedicated solely to business development. We have someone who's dedicated solely to marketing, and so it's we kind of go in every single direction as opposed to using one thing and going all in on it.
Awesome. Leslie?
2 things. I guess we're definitely all in on marketing. Donnie, I bought into your philosophy a couple of years ago about kind of modern recruiting and passive inbound, kind of by building that brand credibility. And we've kind of taken that, a little bit further than a LinkedIn strategy. We have a full account-based marketing strategy going where we're content, directed, targeted content, especially for Austin, which is our new office, and we don't have the brand credibility there. We have to see if that's going to work, but we believe that it will. We also have kind of direct, regular dial for dollars, pounding the pavement, kind of cold prospecting going on. And then on our senior team, we have honestly, this sounds crazy, but just literally hey, people just reach out to your best people that you've lost touch with. We get business that way. And then the 4th thing, and this is really kind of parlaying off of what Brent said, I firmly believe that building a channel partner strategy is where the magic happens. If you can figure out who else is selling into your ecosystem, into a different non-competitive product into the same buyers, and you can build relationships with those folks, good things will happen. We've had an enormous amount of success through that. And we're also, making sure that we're still in touch with all of those folks. And so there's, like Ben said, there's not kind of one silver bullet. I think you kind of have to be hitting it sort of from all angles.
Multiple channels. Brent?
Business development's different now than it was back in the day. I think like most of us on this and probably most of the people watching, back in the day when you're starting out of a bedroom from nothing, it's I'll take anything and everything. You're going to give me a shot, 10%, I'll take it, whatever. I think now I focus on 2 things. The biggest way that I do business development is I produce at a very, very high level because the market is going to speak for you. If you want to attract people, go put out a very good product and service, and I promise you the market will speak. Number 2, I'm a big believer in branding, right? Branding can mean a lot of different things. This can be visible at conferences. This can be doing podcasts. This can be the way that you post and what are you posting for, right? Who are you speaking to? And Donnie, I know that's going to speak to yourself, but are you really narrowing those lanes so that people are going to say they are the person there? I know what Ben does. Somebody should not have to look at you or your content and be confused on what your thing is. The more you can narrow that, I think the wider it actually gets you.
Money, love it. Tom?
I mean, first of all, everything you guys are saying is absolutely brilliant. I totally agree with everything. To add some kind of different nuance that's really worked for me, and some of the stuff that I really focus on outside of the marketing and the branding is I take my show on the road. I go to a lot of conferences. I'm out there live. I think that old school getting out there, being visible. I'm a hugger. I want to see people. I want to hug people. I want to touch people. I want to high five people. There's no substitute for that. So I go to a lot of conferences. I'm out there. I meet a lot of people. But the other thing too is, and I heard this quote last week and it resonated with me, but heard the speaker and he said, your next $1 million deal is very likely going to come from somebody you already know. I mean, we're out there and we're chasing our tail and we're out there trying to get new leads, get new clients, cold call, this, that, marketing, branding, doing all this other stuff. But I think to get back to basics and focus on relationships, the people that you know. Leslie, you said this, contact people that you have a relationship with. Hey, just checking in. How can I be of help to you? Have anything we can work on? Simple, touch base type deals with people that you already know. Be visible, like Brent said, get out there in front of people, and then good things happen.
Love it. Kathleen?
My passion. We don't do any outbound cold calling or direct solicitation at all. We haven't for almost 15 years. My business is built based on integrated marketing plans, and employers from around the world come into our sign up form on our website. So what do we do to make that happen? Content like crazy. We had a blog years ago called salesjournal.com when it was cool to have a blog in a separate platform versus on your website. So we've been doing that and developing content around Sales Journal for years and years and years. We do a ton on social media multiple times a day and per week. We do a lot of intentional marketing when it comes to email. Like so I told you guys we do sales marketing operations, right? So not all sales leaders want to hear about marketing stuff. Not all marketing people want to hear. And oh, by the way, not all sales directors want to hear what sales managers want to hear, right? So we do a lot of persona development where we have focus groups and we actually interview the people, our clients and our prospects who are getting this content to find out what do they really want to hear. So when it's hitting their inbox, they're going to open it and they're going to remember us and they're going to see value in what we do. We do press releases. We do so much. I do a lot of podcasts. I'm guests. I have no podcasts, but I'm a guest on many and I love being a guest. And then that content goes around. Crazy. I mean, Google loves us. Google loves us because of content. So we don't do any PPC, no paid advertising. Google just loves our stuff. We're ripe. And that's what happens. That's what happens. This is the beauty of what happens for new business. And then we get new business from the existing clients that we have and do well with over the years as well, of course. But that's us. It's marketing.
Beautiful. Brianna?
Amen.
Yeah, I was just thinking, I want Google to love me. I'm actually Brent. I was just laughing when Brent was talking because I also started like in my bedroom, and I remember my first deal was with one of my first deals was with Trulia for like $5,000. Like, can you imagine Trulia only paying me $5,000? Ridiculous. Anyways, so we do a lot of email campaigning. So like I like to do 4 to 6 emails in one campaign. If we're doing cold outreach, of course, we always hit up our first connections, past clients. I keep an eye on where all of my like directors of TAs or CTOs, where they go. I'm really, really, really good about that. Even all of our placements, the team always make sure that we all add them on LinkedIn. We're constantly connecting. We even have things scheduled out on a monthly basis on, hey, what's going on? We're super big on notes for sure. And then also what I found a lot of luck with, and again, goes back to marketing, and I think your clout is I use Haro, which is help a reporter out. And I love feasting and writing on all those articles. And if the reporter doesn't pick up what I have to say, then we use that for our own content. And that goes really far. And that SEO like works beautifully.
For me, honestly, just because I hear someone still just believe in pounding the phone only, and everybody echoed the same things of content, multiple channels, showing up, new fresh approach. So that was a selfish one for me, guys. Thank you very much. Just kidding. I know everyone got it. Let's talk a little bit about like kind of in that. What are some of your guys' favorite tools that you're using? When it comes to either business development, recruiting, or just workflows, or what's making. Who hasn't gone first yet? Anybody not gone first yet? Brianna, you're up.
All right, I'm going to gush about this one because this one's new. We've used it for about a month, but it's called Covey, which is getcovey.com. I'll totally put this in the link or however you want to roll that. But it is augmented sourcing. And I know that you're thinking like, okay, here we go with the bots again, right? Or here we go with, Fetcher, who like has this fake team in a different country. This actually is real. I've seen it work. And basically what you do is you go on, and also they have email campaigns naturally, because I think that's, again, the multiple touches works. But you can put whatever job description you want in there. They walk you through for about 45 minutes. You talk to them about the good profiles, the bad profiles. And it's like you're talking to a very, very badass professional recruiter that exactly speaks your language. And then they run your recs and it's sourcing for you. So it's sourcing even better than I could do on LinkedIn, which I would be a sourcer for life. Like that's my thing. So I was really impressed. They were able to do basically if you want to say, I want this, but I don't want that. And then this is my for sure. It puts that all into account really nicely for you and sends out the messages. And as the recruiter, you are then just getting these messages from them. And then you're able to do what you do best, which is candidate experience and which is driving forward. And the results have been great. If it's off ever by profiles on who you're getting, they switch it up really quickly. It's literally the best rec tech I have personally seen. So I'm pretty excited about it.
Brianna, is that AI?
Yes, it's insanely insanely impressive.
I missed the name of it.
Oh yeah, it's
what is that called?
It's called Covey. It's getcovey.com, Covey. And I was very skeptical because it sounds like it's too good to be true. I have seen it done. And also I did use Gem, which is another amazing email sequence tool, which I do highly recommend as well. However, the emails via Covey is even more accurate. So we placed someone within 2 weeks. It was like, poof, mind boggling. Mm-hmm.
Amazing. Brent?
Look, I'll talk some basics just when it comes to content. I think a lot of people in the recruiting space overthink this. I think they got to go into some production studio. They got to have the ring lights and they got to have all this stuff. And it's not that hard. I think that you can do some very basic things with video. I think video is very important. I still live when it comes on content that pictures say 1,000 words. Don't just hide behind a static photo that a lot of people used from 5 years ago. Get out there, be visible. But it's very simple. You can go on Instagram, go to the reel function, film a 90-second reel and use the caption tab there. There's an app on the iPhone called Captions. Don't overthink this. Just get out there. So many people have paralysis by analysis because they're looking for the perfect situation. Donnie, if I do 2 takes, I'm mad. 1 and done. Quick and easy. And I think the more that people just use these basic tools and hit post and don't think, it's going to serve them very well.
Love it. Love it. Tom,
Well, we use Loxo as an ATS, which has been really good for us. We like it. It's real simple. It's real streamlined. But other than I got to go with Brent on this, and I don't mean to piggyback, but I think videos is the way to go. I think video is really super important. I mean, Donnie was telling me to adopt video like 4 years ago. It's been years in the making, just because, like Brent said, you overthink it. You're not comfortable. You think nobody's going to like it. You feel stupid. But at the end of the day, one of the things I have learned, and Donnie told me this years and years ago, what you think is going to be great and is going to hit may not hit. And what you think may not hit could potentially hit. You just don't know. Put the content out, be consistent, and good things are going to happen. But I could tell you, in this day and age of instant gratification and everybody wanting to see everyone, video is the way to go. So I totally agree. And I think as a marketing tool, the best thing you can do is just use your phone and create video and get it out there.
love it. Ben?
I mean, what Brent and Tom both said about video, I agree with. Don, you obviously got us to do video, whatever it was, 2.5, 3 years ago. But we're always looking at new tools as well. Like we bring new things in all the time, get rid of old things. I think if there's any lesson I've learned over time, like what's great right now, 6 months from now, there's probably something better, if not sooner. So I probably spend more time than I should looking at those types of tools for our team to see what it is that we can, equip every recruiter with that helps them get from, sourcing to a placement quicker. So again, I don't know if there's a favorite one, but we use a lot of different ones, and we spice it up quite a bit.
Kathleen.
LinkedIn Recruiter. It's where most of my money's going and most of my success. So, LinkedIn Recruiter. It's a huge tool. It's not cutting edge, but it is the dominant tool that we use and gives us the best ROI without question. So,
Donnie, I have a quick question for Ben, if you don't
Awesome.
mind. I want to know how you are constantly having your recruiters adopt new.
Yeah, let me wrap up Leslie. And then
Sorry.
I might be in the minority here. I don't actually believe that the latest tech is the key to greatness, in recruiting. We have all the things. We spend most of our money with LinkedIn. I do think if you've got a good automated sequencing email tool, that will make your recruiters efficient if they know how to use it. I think the kiss of death is automation used incorrectly, which can totally backfire. But other than that, yeah, we kind of lean more on building influential relationships and not trying to be too heavily tech focused, because I just don't fundamentally believe that is a huge difference maker.
Follow up to please. Brianna, can you hear me?
Oh, sorry. No, yeah. No, I want to know Ben's take on how, if like you're constantly trying new things, how you getting your team to adopt them. I have wasted tons of money on tons of tools. So I would love your take on that.
I mean, I don't know. I guess we're just lucky. We've got some pretty tech savvy folks. I'm not that tech savvy, but our integrator, the guy George that runs the day-to-day of the business, spent over a decade at Apple and before he joined us. And I mean, most of us, I think, are millennials, so it's pretty easy for us to adopt technology. I don't know if there's a silver bullet to it, but I don't get real in the weeds with that stuff. I'm probably the worst one on our team with technology, if I'm being honest. So I'll give you George contact information. You can reach out to him. He might be able to help.
Nice.
Love it. What do you guys, as we kind of, and we're going to do one more question. Again, if you guys are listening live, go ahead and give some love and some likes to these amazing individuals and the value they're dropping. Go ahead and start dropping some questions. This will be the last question I ask. What are you guys excited for, to close out 2022 and 23? Leslie, we'll start with you.
That might be the hardest question. I mean, honestly, part of what we're the most excited about is that we just actually joined and are part of a much bigger company and have a much broader reach platform to grow across the United States and with other service lines. But in general, we are super, super, super excited about Austin. It's the new frontier, and we're committed and confident that we can do in Austin what we've done in the Bay Area with a lot of the same types of clients. We hired 18 people on our team in about a 12-month time frame, and they were all just kind of hitting their 1-year mark. And you guys know how long it takes people to ramp in this business. And so we're kind of looking at, we now kind of have double the resources we had in the past. And so that's really exciting as well. I just think that, in general, it's a great time to be a recruiter. I've seen 2 recessions in the past. This is very different. The talent shortage is not going to change. And people will not only survive, but thrive as long as they're willing to work hard and kind of change up what they're doing. And so just overall, we're, very optimistic about the future and the team and kind of everything.
Love it. Let's see.
Yeah, I'm excited to make it rain. It is a good time to be a recruiter. What I'm also excited about is something similar of what you're doing here, Donnie. I think it's really cool to bring a lot of just great agency owners together. I have this dream of a mega agency and just in all of the different verticals and kind of tackling it that way. So I want to do, we're planning on doing a mega event and bringing just some really cool vendors. And again, I think just what I've always desired is for our industry to actually have respect, and not when you say, hey, what do you do? Recruiting. Oh, another staffing agency. I never want to hear that again. So I do think that with COVID and with this, whatever's going on right now, we won't call it a recession, fine. But I look forward to 2023 because I think that we've earned our stripes over the last 2 years. And I think we're only getting stronger. We're only getting more strategic, and we're having more and more, I think, flat, like a highlight on our industry. And there's lots of learning and development going into it. And I think that's what excites me the most, because training is my passion always.
Tom?
Oh, sorry, we didn't hear you, cut out. This is going to sound like really simple, but I'm excited about the holidays, to be honest. And it's a great opportunity to get in front of your clients. Use it as an excuse to say thank you and send gifts and put some creative posts out there and videos and just be visible through and literally end the year by getting yourself in front of your clients through each of the holidays that are coming up. I think that it's a great way to end the year on a good, positive note, and give people a really good feeling. We talked before, I mentioned about the customer experience. This all falls into that. Make people feel good. Make them excited about doing business with you in the new year. Start off 2023 now by preparing for how you're going to end out and make people feel good. And I think that it's such a no-brainer, in my opinion.
Beautiful. Kathleen?
You cut out.
Yeah, you keep cutting out.
I swear I wasn't just dilly-dallying. No, it's okay. So there's a lot in 2023 I'm looking forward to. So we've got a handful of newer recruiters on the Naviga team that we placed this year. And Leslie, I was relating with what you were saying, and it takes time. So I'm looking forward to seeing them humming consistently next year, probably by second quarter. That will excite me. I'm also excited to bring some memes into my marketing world and be creative with memes and do some things that are differently easy and just out there. We're also looking at a pretty large initiative with a very well-known business in relation to temp staffing. And we have an agreement there that's probably going to change the whole chemistry of our business just financially, which is going to be beautiful. And then I'm working closely with U.S. Special Operations, and it's something I'm passionate about. We've got an Air Force here down in Tampa, MacDill Air Force, and I'm helping colonels and high-level leaders who are coming out of Special Forces after being there for 20, 25 years transition, and giving them the tools to do that. And I'm kind of mingling with a group of executives who meet with them, the first Tuesday of every month. And that relationship is going to be growing. So I'm really enjoying that. 2023 is going to be a great year.
Love it. Ben?
My number's not as impressive as Leslie's adding 18, but we added 7 new people this year. So we've almost doubled our head count, and it does take people a while to get up to speed, but we've seen some of them really pick it up fast. Like I think our top biller this month is going to be someone that's been here like 4 months, which is incredible. Yeah. So in half the people, Donnie, you know this about us, half the people here were friends and family before they started working here. And the ones that weren't before they started working here have become that way. So like, I think this is the first time in my 10 or 11 years of doing this, like we're just having a ton of fun. Like it's a fun place to be. I wake up in the morning and I actually want to drive in, which is saying a lot because Houston traffic really sucks. So I'm excited about that, like continuing to grow the team and work with the people that we got here.
All right, cool. Then Brent, close us out here, man.
Yeah, if there's 2 things that I personally am excited for 2023, and I think everyone watching this should be excited about, is broaden your horizon. And what I'm going to mean by that is when we're growing and scaling our teams, it's not always that you just have to find recruiters. One of the best ingredients that I found is what about people that have actually done the job that you're placing? The biggest growth we had is finding people in that niche that do that thing. You have to think of when they communicate now with candidates, I'm one of you. I've sat in your seat. I've done that job. I know your pain points. It's such an easy correlation that they're going to have. While everyone's searching for recruiter, we can teach that. But you can't necessarily teach the language of your industry. Don't discount those people. You know, I came up through MRI and their motto was keep the best, place the rest. They got a little selfish at times. And so do we have that mindset there? Lastly, what I'll leave you on is like, you know, Brianna had said, I think recruiting sometimes has a negative annotation to it. And I think it got a little easy the last couple of years. I really have embraced the verbiage around talent advisor. And I talked to our team about this today. Think about what a wealth advisor does. I study the markets. I look at trends. I know what's going on there. This is my world. Let me educate you, Mr. Candidate, on what's going on. Let's talk about models that we're seeing. Let's be a career coach to you and make sure this move makes sense. Most recruiters, I hate to say it, are self-serving. I have a job. This is a good fit for me. They don't ask questions. They don't focus on the person. When you are a a talent advisor, you're honestly just coaching and guiding and educating and building trust and rapport because you know your stuff. Stop selling, start helping.
Love that.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. I'm going to get into some of these questions here. I'm just kind of gear these questions to probably specific individuals. If you guys have a follow-up thought on it, then feel free. This first one, I'm going to go towards you. From Thea, she says, have any of you seen ROI for new clients, not candidates, from LinkedIn ads SEO strategy?
I don't do any paid advertisements, so no to that one, but SEO without question. SEO is part of our back-end marketing strategy. So yes, I have seen new clients from SEO.
Love it. Love it. Tom, does anybody do LinkedIn paid ads out of curiosity? I don't think any of you do, but you do? No? Okay. Tom and Brent,
I've tried it.
What would you both say are the... Oh, have you? What have you seen?
Yeah. So I think it depends on what like your end game is. Are you trying to get clients? You're trying to get candidates. I find, unfortunately, that it works better for candidates, which I feel like, you know, sometimes it's like you wanted it for clients. So I haven't done it again. But I recently spoke to an agency owner last week who spent 50 grand on LinkedIn marketing. And I was like, holy moly. And he claims it was the best money he has ever spent, the best ROI he's seen on anything. I don't know about that, but that's just from someone last week.
I bet he's telling the truth.
Tom and Brent, this one's geared for you guys. What would...
Yep. Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead, Kathleen, finish that thought.
I was going to say, I bet he's telling the truth because our budget for pay-per-click on Google a long time ago to get this brewing like a train was $100,000 a year.
Wow.
So you've got to invest in order to get the assist happening. So I'm sure he's finding success paying 50 grand without question.
Yeah, well, one of the things that, you know, from where I sit is, you know, I mean, for most of you guys, 50 grand is, I'm going to guess, 2, maybe 3 places. Advertising hasn't been like oh, 50 grand, but at the end of the day, it's like potential massive ROI. And if you want to grow your audience quick, it's advertising. And LinkedIn allows you to target YouTube. So there's actually a lot of really good things there. Actually, I don't think a lot of recruiting industries are taking near enough advantage of that. Going to the next question, Brent, what would you both say are the key ingredients of a quality video to post?
Yeah, Brent.
You know, I'm a big believer in value. It's all around value. And I think you have to know who you're speaking to. There can be weeks when you're speaking to the candidate and what you have to educate them on. There's going to be times when you're educating the client. Hey, let's talk about interview process. Time kills all deals, right? And speak to them in that regard. But here's the reality. There's 2 books that everybody should pick up. One's called Hook Point. You have 3 seconds in this scroll world to catch somebody's attention. Another book I got on my desk right now says you got 8 seconds. We live in a distracted world. You have to be able to catch someone's visual attention very quick. I'll tell you, and then I'll turn it to Tom. The best videos that I've done have been with like a $100 Amazon selfie stick, and I walk and talk because it's visual. I walk and talk. There's movement around me. It's more engaging than just sitting here behind this wall of fame and just, doing a static video, so to say. That's very, very simple and something you do with your iPhone.
Yeah, I agree. I think that value is the most important thing. I think you have to keep it short. If you start droning on, people are just going to be like, oh, and here's the problem. If you drone on and people stop watching your video at 20 seconds into it because you're not getting to the point, they're never going to click on another one of your videos again. So I think that if you make it your brand to keep it value-based, keep it short, have a good takeaway, teach them something, then they're going to, every time you post a video, whether it's on LinkedIn or TikTok or Instagram or wherever else, they're going to watch it. Maybe they'll share it. Maybe they'll like it. Maybe they'll comment. But I think it's important to have a really good takeaway, good value, keep it brief, make it visual. Like Brent said, I think that that's important too. Mix it up a little bit.
And then real quick to piggyback on that, Tom and I are fortunate enough to have some really good public speaking mentors. You'd be shocked how much energy and tonality right there is a game changer. You have to catch people, right?
Yep.
You can't just be static and sit down and just talk like this. And monotone is dead. Don't be that person. You can't be a character in some facade because you have to be who you are. So when people meet you, it's the same thing. But energy alone is a game changer there.
Want to follow up with anything on video that you've experienced?
Yeah, I don't know anymore, because I think if I would post something on LinkedIn that says, watch Kathleen eat her favorite pizza, a slice of Kathleen's favorite pizza after she makes one of the biggest placements ever for Naviga. Tell me your thoughts. I think that would be the biggest. So I can't gauge what really is going to work anymore. I think it's a dance. I think it's a trial and error. And I think you just have to put yourself out there and take some risks, because I don't know anymore.
I love it. Good marketers are good testers.
Absolutely. And good pizza eaters.
There you go. I mean, just to kind of follow up on that, I think the things that are important is a lot of people, when they start thinking of video or they start to think about, oh, I've got to promote myself. I've got to sell. I've got to tell you the 3 reasons why you got to work with Donnie and this, that, and the other. It's actually really easy when you just focus on educating the market. You make it nothing about you. And people, if you give your prospects credit, people will come to you, ask all the time, as long as you're showing up visible and adding value. I think that's most important as you put yourself out there. And I think that talking about what Brent said, people can't buy your energy through a written post. That is the value of video. Even if you're doing one video a month, it's better than doing none, because you guys can all be right now based off of how I'm interacting. You guys can buy each one of us on this show because you're seeing our personality, you're seeing who we are. And again, like Brent's saying, there's not inauthenticity. That's something that is not replaceable, other than the human, face-to-face interaction. So,
and Donnie, real quick, I think
that's everything.
I was going to mention one thing, Donnie, if I could. I think Kara asked this question. One thing that we implemented that I think is a very big game changer too is using video text. So a couple of days before a candidate starts, literally go into your iPhone and filming a 30-second video. It was so great to, help you through this process. Let me know if you need anything. I'm just glad that you gave us the opportunity doing that with clients and candidates. Because I guarantee you, if I set Brianna a video for 30 seconds and my face was on there, do you not think she's going to click play? Putting face to a name, not always on LinkedIn, but in other ways, is very, very important. Do that with your clients and candidates and tell me that doesn't mean something. Tom talked about giving gifts. Go give a 30-second or 1 minute thank you face text at the end of the year and tell me that doesn't work for you too.
Brent, seeing your face on a text is a gift in and of itself.
I was wondering who was going to say that.
It works.
Anytime you want to send me a text with your face, do it.
It works. It works more than you would think. Because nobody's
I agree.
Who's doing that? Who's doing that?
No,
Nobody.
it works. I had someone send me a message recently, and I was like, wow, because I don't do that. But you know what? I'll tell you, this is the second time that's come up recently, and I think it's a really good point.
Clients and candidates, both.
We
Mod
even
in the
put
training
video.
portal, Tom. Loom videos. 3-step messaging
Real
routine.
quick.
It's in the training portal. Yep.
I missed that
Gabrielle.
part.
Oh, I was gonna say, real quick. We also put video in just cold outreach, whether it's to a candidate or a client. And I even let my team roll with my videos of like, hey, this is who we are. It's literally, it's probably like 45 seconds, a little more than the 30, but yeah, it's quick. I think the ROI on it's strong.
Sweet. Awesome. Well, let's go. If you share where maybe the audience can find you guys at on your social channels, and then one last piece of advice or one last thought you'd like to do. Brianna, we'll start with you on this one. Where can we find your last tip for us?
Yeah, I mean, everyone can find me on LinkedIn, but I also have the Millionaire Recruiter YouTube channel where I put all my tips and stuff. I also have a podcast called The Talent Takeover Unfiltered, where I get very unfiltered, keep it real. So that's always fun. My main tip, and I think throughout my journey, I would get either emotional intelligence training as soon as possible. That has been priceless for me, or a coach or mentor of some sort. I think is just really, really, really powerful, and it's something I wish I would have gotten sooner in my career. I think it's you're ever changing, and in order to be in this recruiting world, which is a constant roller coaster, you have to embrace change in order to stay sane.
Love it. Kathleen?
Geez, I would say you've got to create trust and value based on the quality you bring, not just making placements, not just sending out candidates. And I know that's tough to do because there's a lot of models out there in agencies that demand a lot from you, where you dismiss the quality, but you've got to have quality standards in order to differentiate yourself. And you will win in the long run if you keep to those values. So that's what I got.
Where can we find you, Kathleen?
Google me, Kathleen Steffey with a K. You'll find me everywhere. I'm on LinkedIn. You'll find me on my website. Just if you Google my name, you'll see me.
Leslie?
I think number one is just adding value. I firmly believe in the pay it forward. Don't ask for anything from anyone until you have actually already given a ton. Kind of think about that as like a cup. You put everything in the cup, and when the cup is full, then you can actually take a little bit out. But I think that too many recruiters don't approach it that way, and they're give, take. And I think that fundamental sort of philosophy of helping, adding value, putting your clients first, your candidates first, regardless of the money or the placement, is ultimately what will garner long-term loyalty. And frankly, so much more money than you ever could have made if you were focused on the transaction. And I'm on LinkedIn, not everywhere.
Brent?
I wish I was everywhere.
Brent, where can we find you, man?
Yeah, heavy on LinkedIn under the personal brand of Brent Orsuga. I have an Instagram and TikTok I've had to get into for Pinnacle Growth Advisors. You can find me there. I think the biggest tip for me that I try to convey to even our squad is you got to have a little swag with this stuff. You got to have a lot of confidence when it comes to recruiting, but the reality is confidence comes from competence. So you have to work on yourself in 2023 if you are not doing that. I'm also a big believer in, as you control the narrative around yourself, brand, company, stay positive, stay at a high level. I think things are a boomerang. If you get into the LinkedIn rat race of negativity and stupid polls and all this nonsense that goes on, I think the negative Nancy's are going to be what you attract to yourself. Stay at a high level, and you'll see what comes back to you.
Love it. Ben?
It's already been touched a few times, but I think, self-development, working on yourself, working on your business, that's some of the stuff that's had the biggest impact on me and our business. Brent, I know, is also a member at EO, Entrepreneurs Organization. Anyone who's not that's eligible, you'd be nuts not to join it. That's changed our business, changed me wildly in the last couple of years. If we're talking to a bunch of recruiters, right, I feel like I shouldn't have to tell people where they can find me. You got my name, it's in the screen. If you can't find me, you should probably reconsider what you're doing for a living.
Right?
I love it. Tom, don't tell him where you can find him. Close it out for us, man.
All right. Well, thank you guys. It was a pleasure doing this. Thank you, Donnie. It was great meeting you guys, and definitely hit me up. Obviously, LinkedIn, Instagram. It's Tom_Caravela, TikTok. Like Brent, I'm on there now and trying to make my way through this TikTok world. But you guys brought up some awesome points. I agree across the board. The only thing that I'm going to add is I think it's really important to not compromise your uniqueness and authenticity. You got to stay true to yourself. I think that when we look at, again, answer your question, what gets likes on videos and what resonates with people just be yourself. Be your authentic self. Don't compromise, and just use your uniqueness and your qualities. And to Brent's point, have confidence in everything that you do, because that's going to resonate. So that's kind of the way I want to leave it. Again, thank you guys. Let's connect. If I can help you in any way, please let me know. I think it's important, as Leslie said, you got to pay it forward, be a servant leader. And that's going to bring value to others, which is going to come back to you.
Brent, Kathleen, Ben, Tom, Leslie, Brianna, thank you. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for just dropping here for everybody that's listening. I appreciate it. You guys have all had a huge impact on my journey in some way, shape, or form. So I appreciate your guys' support for what I have going on the Relevant Recruiter Show here. I think this has been really valuable what we've done here, and the thing you guys have shared. I think people are commenting that they love implement some of these things. So tremendous pay it forward day for you guys. So thank you guys so much. For those of you guys that took out the time out of your day to watch, and I thank you guys as well. And if you guys instead give a little like, a little love, let's get in front of as many people as we possibly can. This is going to be the Recruiter Show. The show is on iTunes. You can also find it on the YouTube channel, Donnie Gupton. You can find me on LinkedIn, Donnie Gupton, if you're actually on my channel right now. And then Facebook group, The Relevant Recruiter. Thank you guys. Awesome. Humbled to be in a room with, well, not in a room, but in a Zoom room with all you amazing folks. So that's all we have for you guys today, and we'll see you guys next.
Take care, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.